What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Come On Get Happy Hour. This crazy quarantine keeps going, but we keep rocking. We don't care. We're crazy like that. We don't care. We're keeping you happy. And we got a great show. We got two of my guests tonight that happen to be my friends also that have been in like iconic movies. I would say definitely top 100. Wouldn't you, Sketch?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I'm excited about this episode.
Yeah, it's so cool because I know IMDb does top 100. I know the 10 Commandments has to be in there. So Kathy Garver, one of our guests, not only on Family Affair, one of the most iconic sitcoms. I had two older sisters growing up, and they love Family Affair. But also she was in the 10 Commandments, cast by Cecil B. DeMille, which is amazing. And then, it's crazy. And then Spencer Garrett, whose mom was not only a beautiful, actress on a big hit show and president of the Screen Actors Guild, Kathy Nolan, but Spencer was just in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that's him in the scene with Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio doing the cheesy TV reporter guy.
Right.
So it's good to have friends that do you favors like this. So you got an exciting episode coming up, guys. Sure. Also, I did on Facebook, what are your top 10 favorite TV kid characters or actors? So I didn't really specify, did I mean the actor or the character? Either way, I just want to know who are the top 10. And of course, this is not done by like a survey of 10,000. This is
no recount necessary.
No recount necessary. The ballots are in. That's it. It's a done deal. So anyway, by the way, Sketch.
This
is my very more talented and beautiful partner up in Canada, Judy Sketch Lewinson.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Sketch.
Hello. You're right.
Do you have a child actor character that stands out in your childhood?
I have a few. Always loved Arnold from A Different Strokes, and Tootie from Facts of Life.
Tootie, yeah.
Janet, when
she had a catchphrase, I feel like she had a.
I can't remember.
I feel like she had a catchphrase.
She probably did. She was always on roller skates. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
Janet Jackson was on Good Times. She played Penny, and then she was on Fame.
Anytime you need a favor.
There's like quite a few. Like
she was Filona's adopted daughter or something.
Yeah, like the daughter from across the hall or something like that.
Yeah, she was sassy. I loved her.
Regina King was on 227. And
Regina King. Uh-huh.
Oh, and then but Webster. I loved Webster.
Oh, Webster was the best. Yeah, Webster. Yeah. All right, so I got a bunch of comments as usual. I narrowed it down to 10. Cool. And these are the top 10. I think it was put on Facebook. I like you did the drum roll in the show last time. Yeah. Ready?
I did. Yeah.
Top 10. I don't think this guy was a child, but he may have been 18, 19-ish. But of course, he has a place in my heart. Check out the hair. Keith Partridge from the Partridge Family at number 10.
There we go.
Come on, long and long. And the name of the show is always, tip of the hat to Keith Partridge. All right, number 9, the Beaver from Leave It to Beaver.
Oh,
number 8, Buddy. Yeah, Beaver. The Beaver was chilling. Eddie Haskell. I was kind of like the Eddie Haskell. Gee, Mrs. Cleaver, your hair looks marvelous today. Number what were we on? Buddy, number 8 from Family. No, Buddy, Christy Nichols. One of those. Anyway, from Family. Ricky Schroeder. Schroeder from Silver Spoons. Did you get that up there?
Oh, we got that show, but I'm not a fan of his.
Not Ricky. And Alfonso was on there.
A fan of Alfonso. Yes.
Yeah, Alfonso. Number 6. I had to mark this out because someone had Mork for Mork, and I'm like, Mork for Mork wasn't a kid. Come on, man. It's cheating. So, Buckwheat.
Okay.
Buckwheat was the best. Buckwheat.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 5.
The kid from Courtship. Number 5. The kid from Courtship of Eddie's father. I don't remember his name. Brandon something. I think he's like a punk rock singer now. But anyway. Number 4. We both know this young, talented lady. She's one of my best friend's daughter, Olivia Holt.
Oh, of course.
Olivia Holt from Kicking It.
Yes. And she's got a nice music career now, too.
Yeah, she's doing okay. And my kids, I'll let them chime in. They said Olivia. And I feel like I should have put her at number 1, but I had some iconic ones. But anyway, Olivia, I love you. Number 3, here we go. Shirley Temple.
Good one. Yeah.
Good one. Or as Faith, my daughter, used to say Charlie Temple.
Charlie Temple.
And number 2, you mentioned, this was my favorite. I gave 1, and it was Arnold. What you talking about, Sketch?
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis? So that would have been my number 1, but I felt like this next one that someone recommended as their favorite was truly the number 1 most iconic child actor of all time, Opie.
Oh yeah,
Opie Taylor.
Yes.
Little Opie. Yes. Ron Howard.
That's Ron Howard, the
Opie,
director now. Yes.
Yeah, he did okay. But,
do they still play that show?
Maybe Arnold. I'm gonna switch that. Arnold maybe number 1. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's still on.
Yeah, they play it up
Andy
here.
Griffin. Yeah, Andy Griffin.
I watch it with my nephews. Such a good show.
Ticket. Yeah. Andy Griffin would not have approved of me doing the remix on that. But anyway. All right, everybody. Should we kick it?
Yes, we can.
All right. Yes, we can. We got a little Christmas tree over here. Look at this. Got a little.
Oh, wow. You guys ready
Christmas
for the
tree
holidays
kicking.
already? You have Thanksgiving coming up this week?
Yeah, we do have Thanksgiving. And you don't up there. So we don't even. Yeah.
We've already been
You don't have it?
thankful.
What are you thankful for up there?
We're thankful that we're Canada and we have a
Thankful you're not down here.
we have a beautiful
Thankful you're not-
privacy hedge to observe our neighbors.
Here. Nope, no, we're good.
Right, yep. It's like, no, we're not barbecuing up here. Step back.
We're good. Stay over there. On your side. We're good. All right, Sketch. I'm excited for this show. We got a couple of good, deep cuts of the Hollywood stories on this one. So I'm excited. Everybody, thanks for joining. Come on, get happy hour. And every Wednesday night, 6-ish, we kick it. And I'm excited for the show. So let's get this party started.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, here we go. Let's get this. Come on, get happy quarantine party started. We don't care if we're locked down. We're still having a party in the double wide trailer, illegally parked in front of the Hollywood sign. My first guest is a Hollywood legend. I couldn't imagine as a little kid in Kentucky, I had 2 sisters, and my little sister, my older sister, I should say, used to run around with her Mrs. Beasley doll all the time. That someday this lady would be a friend of mine. We love this show, and it brought us a lot of happy memories. And I'm proud to call her my friend. She's an accomplished actress, author. I think she has 3 books that we're going to talk about, all her books. She's got a new YouTube cooking show. I mean, what can she not do? That's the shorter list. Anyway, give it up for my first guest, the lovely Miss Kathy Garver.
Hello.
Hi, Kathy.
Happy to see you. Well, one thing I can't do is be in a double wide underneath the Hollywood sign, only virtually. I guess I can do most everything.
We're rocking the double wide. Look at that.
Yeah, you betcha, baby.
So I didn't properly introduce you because we're a little rushed here in the double wide because I'm illegally jacking the electricity from my neighbor. So I got to rush through it. But no, the show, the iconic show that you played, Sissy, was Family Affair.
That's right. And do you believe it will be the 55th Double Nickels anniversary next year? It is very strange, CBD, for me to even think of that, since you know I'm 39. I mean,
I know that. How's
we've
that
been
possible?
together a lot, and you know that. I am having a big birthday in December, but 40 maybe.
Well, come on over to the double wide. I
Yeah.
got plenty of kegs back here. We can break them open and
Sounds good to me. I'll bring my champagne glass, and you can fill it up with some other kind of bubbly.
that sounds
Get that
fair.
keg open.
That sounds fair. But no, we loved the show growing up in Kentucky, and my 2 sisters, like I said. As a matter of fact, my sister that had the Mrs. Beasley dog cat, they came out to visit once, and I took her up to Santa Barbara on State Street and all the vintage stores. And she's like, I found Mrs. Beasley. I found it. So she bought the Mrs. Beasley doll. And I was like, that's great, but I need you to spray it with Lysol before you put it in my car. Because I don't know where that doll's been the last 40 years.
Well, I don't know, but I'd be happy to autograph her feet. and at least the
That-
feet will be clean. I autograph Mrs. Beasley's feet when people bring them to me.
You could probably even autograph my sister's feet and she'd probably just tattoo that autograph on there. That's
That
how
might
big of
be
a fan
nice.
she was.
Sometimes I autograph Mrs. Beasley on her tummy, and that's
Do you
good.
really?
Yeah, I do.
What
Her
a
polka
great,
dotted tummy, blue with the white polka dots, if people know what Mrs. Beasley. I mean, she's still around, and they sell like 100,000 of her every year. But Family Affair is still on. It has never been off the air since 19.
you're kidding.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't kid you, Stevie D.
Is it-
You're the one
is
that
it-
kids people.
Don't kid a kidder. Is it on like TV Land or something? Where can they see it now?
It's on Decades, which is the sister to MeTV. It's also on
Oh,
Hulu, and it's on Amazon.
Love Me TV. I
Yeah.
love Me TV. What you're going to see when you watch this at the beginning, I did a top 10 child stars or characters, not just the actor, but what was your favorite character? Of course, you were excluded because you're a guest, so that'd be cheating a little bit.
Right.
And I do fudge
But
the
otherwise,
list.
I would have been the number one, right? Right, Stevie D?
Definitely,
Well-
I can't. When you see it, you'll see who the number one was. But you were definitely in there. You were iconic. Your character, Sissy. And
Well,
how
you had
many
mentioned
seasons?
that I was an author, and one of the books that I wrote was Ex-Child Stars. Where are they now? So they are
That's
not
cool.
listed in terms of popularity, et cetera, but they go from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, what the show was and what they
Oh
did.
wow!
Tony Dow and Jerry Mathers are in from Leave It to Beaver, and Paul Peterson, Johnny Reed, et cetera, et cetera.
Of course, Beaver may have been in the top 10. You'll see when you.
Aha.
The Beav was cool. You've written 3 books now, right?
A fourth. I brought
4?
out my fourth one just last year, and that was Holiday Recipes for a Family Affair. And then we went and we put on a recipe per week on YouTube. And that then just evolved to where we now have Cooking with Kathy and Scott, who is my co-author, and friends. And you know what, Stevie D? I might get
What?
you on my YouTube channel.
Let's do it.
So you can cook in the double wide, and I'll cook in my regular kitchen.
I'm a hillbilly. Can I bring my barbecue grill into your beautiful home there in Bell
Actually,
Canyon?
Yeah, you can come visit in the out. We live in kind of an equestrian type place. Mickey Dolans
Mhm.
lives here, and Alyssa Milano, who raised a little bit of a thing, which you call the police. After she
I know that deal with the BB gun. And that's so funny
Yes.
because you're 2 miles from me and we have crows out in the front yard. And sometimes I'll grab my son's BB gun and go scare the crows. I don't hurt. I just shoot the branches like, "Pew, get the hell out of here." And then I heard that she called the police because some kid had a BB gun. I'm like,
Right,
that
right
could have
in
been
the day
me.
before. And
There's
that
a
was
hillbilly
right
in the front.
after she had really gone on to all social media. Defund the police, defund the police. We don't hate the police. We hate the police. Oh, would you please come out to my house because there's a gun around someplace. So, hey, what do you know? To each his own, or her own, or its own. Or
Exactly. Well, I wish her well, little. And she didn't. I'm just glad
everybody,
to say
I
she
wish
didn't make it.
everybody well.
I love everybody. That's what this show's all about. It's about not politics. We don't talk about any virus or anything. We're just here to make America grin again. I just want to be silly, make everybody laugh, remind people, laughter is the best medicine. You know, Kathy Garver.
I know that. That's why you don't have COVID. None of your family have COVID because we all laugh a lot. My family's been pretty healthy,
Laughter
as have I.
is
So
good
we're
medicine.
doing
And
good.
I'm sorry for the bad words when you came to see me do comedy that night. You're like, oh.
I have to tell your audiences because I met Stevie and his beautiful wife and his gorgeous children, and we had so much fun. And we had a barbecue and around the fire pit. And then he says, "Oh, and I'm doing a comedy show in Hollywood." Like, "Oh, I'd love to go, Stevie. I think that'd be really fun." So I arrived, and he's just so charming and he's nice. We were telling little tales, and then he gets up on stage. He goes, "Well, and I was effing this to do with effing that. But,
Oh,
no, I
so
really
sorry.
don't eff that. No,
I'm sorry, Kathy.
Stevie, I know. I don't
I'm
know.
sorry.
I
don't-
Kentucky
I'm sorry.
got in there.
That was a character. It's a character I play on
I know,
stage.
and that's the whole point. That's the
Yeah.
whole point. There's so many people that are such true characters, and they get on, and they're so believable, and it can be totally antithetical to who they really are, but they're really super believable. And like Dean Martin, he never drank,
Yeah.
and he has a whole bit of drinking. I mean, there's lots of characters that we know comedic characters that are nothing really like that in person. You're not like that, Stevie B.
No, I don't say bad word. It's funny because my children rarely hear me say a bad word. Like my daughter, sometimes I'll get to the edge. I'm like, you're the only person that can push me to bad words are about to come out. But I try to keep it clean, at least around the kids. And then in the comedy clubs, people are over 21. It's a different crowd. But even then, sometimes I'm like, would my mama approve of this language I'm using right now?
Well, and it's all in context. And a lot of it is because there's no other word that could actually explain what you're trying to say. So in many ways, that's forgivable. I was just surprised because you had been so kind and sweet to the kids.
I'm still kind. Southern gentleman off the stage.
You are.
But Kathy, you and my other guest, Spencer Garrett, tonight, you're both buddies and friends of mine. I know you both have been in show business forever. And you told me a great story. We were eating dinner and you said, oh, I was a child actress. I said, what's your first big break? I think you mentioned the 10 Commandments, and Cecil B. DeMille cast you in that part. And then you weren't supposed to have a speaking role. Can you tell that story, please?
Well, yes, I was just hired as an extra. And so I went to the set and I was during the Exodus scene. And then all of a sudden I heard this voice call out, don't let that little girl's face get in the camera. So it turned out that it was C.B. DeMille, the great director. And we talked and he had scenes written into me, into the show for me, into 10 Commandments. So I'm doing the scenes and then segue and we're doing the closing of the Red Sea. Now this is, I think, one of the best scenes that were ever, I mean, totally epic. And because it was so epic, it took forever for them to set it up, like 3 days. And we were on the set at Paramount. And so they built this paper mache mountain. And then they had a road that the donkeys and oxen and everyone was going to go through to get on the other side before the soldiers got him. I was supposed to climb up on the mountain. So it just took forever. But finally, after the 3 days, everybody was in place. But DeMille, because it took so long, had 3 cameras to get it. So he had this one camera that got the whole vista. And then he had another camera set up at a different angle. But just to be sure, he put another camera way back up on the catwalk so he wouldn't lose it. So finally, everything's set. And he says, action. And I climb up on the paper mache mountains and the oxen and the donkeys go by and all the water comes down. They were all these big vats of water on the catwalk, all descended. And he said, cut. He said, that was great. And he said, camera number 1, how was it for you? Cameraman said, oh, Mr. DeMille, I'm so sorry. A camel walked in front of the lens and I lost the shot. You lost the shot? I am so sorry. Well, DeMille was not really happy about this, but he had the other cameraman. So he says, camera number 2, how was it for you? And cameraman number 2 said, Mr. DeMille, I am so sorry. Water splashed in the lens and we can't use it. I lost. Well, Mr. DeMille was really beside himself. All this money, all this time, and then he remembered that little cameraman way back up on the catwalk. And so he said, camera number 3, how was it for you? And the cameraman yelled back at him, ready when you are, Stevie. And that is a true story. I was there.
I love it. And you said, didn't you say it sounded like the voice of God when he would speak?
Oh well, yeah.
Like,
especially at the beginning when we were going through when I hadn't been chosen. I wasn't one of the chosen one yet to be speaking all these wonderful lines. And I heard this big voice and I said, who is that? Because he had said, don't let that little girl's face get in the camera. I said, who is that? Is that God? We were shooting the 10 Commandments, but he was on this great big crane.
God was the executive producer.
He was the executive producer of it all.
And I sent you this earlier today. I said, is this you? The 10 Commandments? Like,
that is me during the Exodus scene when I had a different color hair.
Wow.
And I'm walking down the steps and I said,
Amazing.
grandfather, do you have Rebecca? He said, no, I don't have Rebecca. And then walked down the steps and I said, where's Rebecca? And this disembodied hand comes out and said, here's Rebecca. And I said, oh, thank you. I've always been surrounded by dolls. Rebecca, Mrs. Beasley, my baby Jenny.
You're haunted. All right. All right. And this is
As long as they're not Chucky.
There's Sissy right
Here's
there.
Mrs. Beasley.
Mrs. Beasley. There's Sissy in the back. Look at her.
Yeah. There's me
What's your
and
crush
there's
on that
Buffy and there's Uncle Bill. We have a sequel that's in the works called Aunt Sissy. And we
Oh,
have
wow, okay.
another show I'm working on called TV Dinners. We actually shot the pilot during COVID, but it was in
Did you?
Cleveland. And so that's doing very well. So I've been, and I'm writing another book that goes along
Another.
with Dinners.
That's how you and I met. We had the same publicist.
Yes,
My
Fred.
book and Fred Anderson. Shout out to Fred Anderson.
Yes, hi, Fred.
I'm
Thank you for introducing
Hi,
us.
Fred. Yeah, I'm sorry for the bad words. Fred may have not introduced us had he known I was going to speak like that in front of you. But
It made me laugh. It really did make
but
me
thank
laugh.
you.
I'm just joshing you.
Oh no. Well, good luck on your cooking show. I'm working on a pilot. We're going to talk about off the air. I can't sign a non-disclosure thing, but it's a cooking show, so we're going to talk.
Oh,
All right.
very cool.
All right. For
Well,
sure.
people can get my books. This is my own self-indulgent thing. You can go to
Please do.
Amazon. You can go to my website at kathygarver.com. Get any of my books, 4 books, my beautiful candles, my room spray. I am a walking store. 10% off for everything for the holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
Mention, come on, get happy, 10% off. How about that?
Ah, yes.
No. All right, Kathy Garver, I love you so much. Thank you for coming on. Anything else you want to plug real quick? Anything else we missed? Oh, one thing. I had a fan question for you. One fan question. Were there any pranks on the set or how was the energy on the set of A Family Affair?
Well, we were, this was a family affair and we had 2 small children. And so everything was very sweet and very clean. One time I remember that, but the crew sometimes and the associate director, I was supposed to go under Uncle Bill's bed to pull out his sandals. So I went, oh, I'll get him, Uncle Bill. So I went and I pulled and I pulled and I pulled again. And the assistant director had nailed them to the floor. Gee, thanks. I'm never going to get those sandals.
Nice. All right. So I'm glad you answered that question. I put on Facebook, do you have a question? That was a friend of mine from high school that said she had Mrs. Beasley and she wanted me to ask you that question. So thank you, Kathy Garver. You sure did.
All right.
And this is, I don't know if you said hi to Judy before, my producer up in Canada, but you met her before here.
Hi, Judy. How are you?
I'm doing well and so happy you could join us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for
thank you,
keeping
Kathy.
in line.
You're the best. She keeps me in line. You keep me in line, so it's not easy.
All
right. I love you both.
Love you too.
Thanks, Kathy. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. That was Kathy Garver from one of the most iconic sitcoms ever, Family Affair. And this next guy's been in the business since he was probably could walk. I don't know. His mom was the beautiful Kathy Nolan. So I knew he grew up in the industry. And I love like squeezing stories out of him. We got a good one about the Bridges because he's the better looking younger Bridges brother. But we'll talk about that. He was on the show, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. Same double wide, better neighborhood now. But I love both of my guests tonight have been in I would say definitely one of the top 100 greatest films of all time, 10 Commandments and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We're going to talk about that. Give it up, my buddy Spencer Garrett. Yes. Give it up from
Hey, I was not in the 10 Commandments.
No, but the other guest was. So
yeah, I was not. I'm not there yet.
But you're in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So Quentin, Cecil B. DeMille, I would put them both up there with the top 10, 20 directors of all time.
Iconic directors. Yeah, I got very lucky last year. Yeah,
so you're one of those actors that always works. I was talking to a mutual friend of ours today, and we were saying Spencer never stops working. He don't care about no damn quarantine. This dude is always working.
Listen, the quarantine's been a pain in the ass in more ways than one. But I'm lucky enough to say that I just went back to work. I'm back on Bosch, on the great Amazon show Bosch in the 7th season. So I'm doing a bunch of those. We just went back to work last week. We got shut down because an actor went to a Halloween party and didn't wear a mask and tested positive for COVID, and so we got shut down for 2 weeks. But we're back at it. But I'm happy. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's good. But you can see. I'll flip around if you can see by the door there, hanging on the door is. I must have like 50 masks by now. I order them online. I buy them on the street. I get them all over the place. I've got every conceivable kind of mask. And now when we're on set on Bosch, we got the mask and the shield and the gloves.
In between?
Huh?
When you're waiting for your scene?
In between scenes, yeah. We have everything on and then they say, take them off, and we whip them off, do the scene. I did a scene last night downtown at the Biltmore Hotel. And, in between setups, everybody's, gloved up and masked up, and they say, take them off. We do the scene. And as soon as we're done, as soon as they cut, put them back on again. So it's a trippy way to work, but
it is a trippy way.
We're getting the show made, and it's going to be good. So
when you're blocking the scene, you're not doing the 6 feet doing the scene. You're just
we're doing the scene. We're doing the scene as normal. I mean, I was doing a scene with a bartender sitting at the bar, and she was on the other side of the bar, like 4 feet across. We were doing it normally, but we did it all, masked up. And then, but I've got to get tested. I get tested every other day.
Every other day.
I get tested on the day of. They take your temperature constantly. I mean, they're really on the ball. So I've done since during the pandemic, I've done this and Goliath with Billy Bob. Mm-hmm. That was my first gig back since the pandemic, and that was absolutely a tight ship the way they've run it. So people are doing their jobs, and it's good to see that they're taking it seriously.
Yeah. So I was surprised you said because I tried to get you. We tried to record last night, and you said because someone tested positive. So I appreciate you bouncing it over at night.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man. I mean, I'm glad you're back to work. I don't watch a lot of television. We have one television in the house. I have 2 little ones. So mommy's like, what are we watching here? But I did want to jump on Bosch and get familiar with it before we talked again. But
good
such
stuff.
A cool show. It reminded me of The Wire. It's so gritty.
Yeah, it's got a great film noir quality to it. Michael Connelly has written something like 40 Bosch books about this character, Harry Bosch. Just a great, iconic LA detective character. And my dear old pal, Titus Welliver, got cast in the role, several years ago, and he just crushes it. He's just amazing.
He does.
And the whole cast, speaking of The Wire, Jamie Hector, who was on The Wire, and Lance Reddick, also from The Wire. So maybe that's why you got that vibe, because a lot of the actors that were on The Wire are on the show, and it's just beautifully written, really, really well acted, tough, gritty cop drama, and it's a great sort of love letter to LA. It uses in much the same way that Michael Mann's films that take place in LA use parts of LA that you don't really see that often. Bosch kind of does that, so it's very cool. It's a cool thing to be a part of. I did several episodes in season 3, and they brought my character back for the final season, for season 7. So
that means you crushed it.
You know what? I mean, it's a fun character to play, and I love that they thought of me to bring me back. So I'm grateful, super grateful.
Dude, you've been working for so long, probably since you were a kid. How old were you when you got your first part?
My first gig was, I think I was 8 or 9 years old. My best friend, my childhood friend's mother, was a screenwriter, and she wrote a movie of the week, and it was called Missing Heirs, and it was about people who've died and left sums of money to their long lost heirs. And there was a role in there of a young boy in a flashback sequence it was a German boy, a young German American boy, and he had to do a German accent. And so I said to my friend's mom, I said, I could do a German accent. Let me play the part. And I went in and I auditioned and I got the part. And it was and I think it was my first little role. I think it was like 9 years old. And then my mom directed a film at AFI for the first Women Directors Workshop at AFI.
Wow.
And she did a film with Diane Ladd and Martin Sheen, and me and Laura Dern, we were like 9, 10 years old. Me and Laura Dern had like one line in that. So that was sort of my introduction to the business.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So did you have like, I know your parents were friends with the Bridges, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So when you were growing up, if your parents had like a little cocktail party, was it like, oh, there's Clint Eastwood, there's
kind of. I mean, my folks split up early, but when my mom was president of the Screen Actors Guild, I'd come home and there'd be Jack Lemmon or Cesar Romero, Ed Asner.
That's so cool.
I mean, it was fairly normal to me. So I was growing up around people that I would see on television and in films. It was pretty neat. It was sort of a strange way to grow up, but it was pretty cool. But the Bridges,
so cool.
The Bridges were at my parents' wedding. I think did I tell you this story?
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to earlier. Is like, I didn't know the whole Bridges connection, but I said, you look like you could be related to the Bridges, but you're more handsome and younger. But Jeff is one of my favorite actors, and Bo is cool.
Me too. Me too. Both of those guys, Jeff and Bo. I adore them both. I've never worked with Jeff. He's definitely a bucket list actor that I want to work with. I've never had a chance to work with him yet, but I've worked with Bo. And people throughout the years have always told me that I look like Bo Bridges. So
you told me the story of you worked with him. Yeah. And then and so can you tell that one about your mom's wedding?
Yeah, I all throughout my life, people have said you look like a younger, slimmer version of Bo Bridges. I've always had these sort of bushy eyebrows.
Yeah.
And so I was on Masters of Sex a couple of years ago, and I'd never worked with Bo before, and we had some stuff together, and I went up to him, and I said, this might sound crazy, but I said, people throughout the years have said that, that we look alike. And he sort of looked at me and, we sort of looked back and forth at each other. He's like, yeah, you do. I didn't say, I didn't use the slimmer.
Yeah.
But he said, yeah, I get that. I can see that. We kind of do look alike. I should have sent you that picture. I took a picture of the two of us, and we do kind of look alike. And he told me this story about having been at my parents' wedding in 1962. And he said, did you ever hear this story? And I said, no. He said, well, I was a little boy. I was a little kid at your mom and dad's wedding. And he said, your mom reached down to grab something off of a table, and I accidentally bopped her in the nose with my elbow.
Oh,
I gave your mom a bloody nose at their wedding. And I'd never heard this story. And he said, I've always felt terrible about it. And I said, well, do you want to apologize to her? And he said, yeah, let's call her. So I got the phone and called my mom, and I handed Bo Bridges the phone. He said, hey, Kathy, this is like 3 years ago. He said, hey, Kathy, it's Bo Bridges. And she said, little Bo Bridges. I said, I want to apologize for giving you a bloody nose 53 years ago. And she said, oh, honey, all is forgiven.
I've been waiting for this phone call.
I've been waiting for this phone call. It was really sweet. It was a really sweet phone.
That's crazy that you just happened to mention that. And he's like, oh, by the way, I owe your mom an apology.
Well, I was talking about, I'd mentioned my mom and then I said, from what I understand, you and your brother were at my folks' wedding in 1962. And he said, yeah. And as a matter of fact, I gave your mom a bloody nose, and he told me that story. So it was kind of fun to get on the phone and call mom, she's in her late 80s now, but a couple of years ago. And he called her, and they had a lovely conversation on the phone for about 10 minutes. It was really sweet. So
that's so awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
That's comedy. That's Hollywood gold, comedy gold, everything. Right. That's what I grew up just like craving those stories. Like, I grew up in Kentucky.
That's gonna go in the book. That'll go in the memoirs for sure.
Please. Yeah. We got to get that going, man. Got to have you back on. And what's the deadline? 12 months from now, you're going to have your book, and we're going to have you back.
I've got a few years left in the career to start writing the memoirs, hopefully. But
if this crazy hillbilly can write a book, you can write a book, buddy.
I've got a lot of stories. A lot of stories. I know a few of the bodies are buried too.
You might have to go to the witness protection program.
Maybe.
That's what I love. That's what I read on Kindle every night when I'm in bed. It's just like biographies. I love the Hollywood. I grew up in Kentucky. I just craved watch all the 70s variety
I'm
shows.
reading Oliver Stone's autobiography right now.
How's that?
Chasing the Light. It's really, really good. Really, really well written. I love stuff like that. I just devour it. So if you get a chance, if you got some time, well, you got little kids. I don't know when you got time to, sit and read big fat books, but if you get a chance, read Oliver Stone's book. It's amazing.
I read in bed at night. We don't have a TV in my bedroom. Like I said, we have one television. I go to bed, I turn on my Kindle, or I have a hard book,
Yeah.
and I just love to read at night for an hour and turn off the world. So, and especially, Hollywood biographies. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
And I'll send you my book. I don't know if you read my book, but you read it,
What's your book?
The Trans Am Diaries. So I don't know where it is, but
I don't think I have it.
yeah, I'll send you one.
Yeah, I'd love to read it.
I don't know how it happened, but it went to number 6 on Amazon. I don't know.
Really? That's
I got
fabulous.
lucky. You know some people, and
That's
I know
fantastic.
Spencer Garrett. You might want to bump that up a few notches.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of juice. Got a lot of juice.
Speaking of, who's this ugly guy you're hanging out with right here?
Oh, that fucking guy. Yeah.
That guy.
I know, some up and comer.
You're plus one.
That's my plus one. What a nice guy. He's really, really a class act. I did Once Upon a Time with him last year and had a lovely day of filming with him and Leo. And I tell my my acting student, yeah, oh man, that was a great day. Great
I was
time.
looking for this today, and I'm glad you sent it to me because
Yeah.
I love that the character you had in Once Upon a Time. It was like such the the noir, the old interview guys, and you nailed it. I'm like, shit, I know it's in like a trailer or something I'd seen, but
Yeah.
I couldn't find it still. So thank you for sending me that. We'll fly it in.
You got it.
So great.
Yeah. Somebody made a GIF out of that, like one of those little, those little
Yeah.
where I'm, doing the boxing thing. But the cool thing about that day was that working with those two guys who are, megastars. And Brad said to me at one point, he said, I know I've seen you in a million things. He said, have we ever worked together before? He said, I feel like we've worked together. And I said, you probably wouldn't remember this, but you and I were in the last 3 episodes of Dallas together.
No shit.
Brad
Really?
Pitt, Brad Pitt was like a 19 or 20-year-old kid before Thelma and Louise, before he exploded. And we were both on Dallas together. We didn't have any scenes together. We never worked together, but we were on the same episodes of the same show. And all of a sudden, Brad and Leo and we were talking about, Brad said to Leo, did you ever do a Dallas? And he said, no, but I was on, he said, I was on like a Falcon Crest or something. We were talking about all these shows that we'd done as up and comers. And so I kind of felt, it was kind of nice to be talking to, these two, huge movie stars. And we're all just talking about like guest spots that we did, gigs that we did when we were, trying to make our bones as young actors. And, and I just felt like, I'm in the company of, 2 really good character actors, both of whom just happened to, win the genetic lottery and become superstars. But I mean, just really genuinely sweet cats and really great guys, good to work with.
That's amazing. Was it, I was going to ask you about Quentin. He's been known for like sticking to the script. Were you allowed to ad-lib it off?
No, I stuck to the script because I wanted to give the performance that I gave in my audition for that scene as the interviewer guy. But then when we were done shooting, the part that was scripted, he came up to me and he said, this needs a button, it needs an ending, it needs a tag. You need some sort of your character needs some sort of a sign off. And he said, can you come up with something? And I said, yeah, sure. I said, you're the one with 2 Oscars for writing, but I'll write my own.
I'll show you how it's done.
I'll show you how it's done. And so he said, I got an idea. And he said, think of like 3 or 4 of your favorite TV shows from the early 1960s. And so, I came up with a couple of names, and somehow we came up with Maury Amsterdam and the Dick Van Dyke Show. So
the best. My
like,
favorite show of all time.
He's like Maury Amsterdam and Rosemary. And I went, okay, got it. Let me think about it. Okay, got it. And then I went, join us next week on the set of the Dick Van Dyke Show, where I interview those comical cut-ups, Maury Amsterdam and, Rosie. This is Alan Kincaid signing off. I came up with all that all in one take. He's like, that's it. We got it. Boom. Have a nice day.
Check, please.
Yeah.
That was awesome because it's funny you mentioned it. Dick Van Dyke Show is my favorite show of all time.
Oh yeah, so
And
good.
Dick Van Dyke doesn't live far from me in Calabasas, and I always want to stalk him. And
Yeah.
one day his car caught on fire in the 101, and I was so mad I didn't get to save him. I'm like, I could have saved Dick Van Dyke. We would have been
Oh, my God.
BFFs forever.
He's like 91 now or something, isn't he?
He's up there and he's still tap
Yeah.
dancing and singing and
Amazing, amazing. I remember he was in the Mary Poppins sequel
Yeah.
thing that they did a couple of years ago with Emily Blunt, and he was wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah.
he's
I've met
so-
him. I've met him a few times. He's a legend. It's
Of
super
course.
sweet and charming.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad those legends you work with all the time never saw this picture of you and this hillbilly on the red carpet.
Ah, look at that! Look at us, the girls.
Look at us.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so much fun. I always look forward to doing those shows and seeing you on the carpet. Who is that? I
Jason
can't see
Ritter.
who that is.
Jason Ritter. We'll fly it in.
Oh yeah, lovely.
You and myself and Jason Ritter.
Jason Ritter, good man.
It's so funny. I went up to Jason that night. So Spencer and I have worked a couple of times performing in Late Girls, and then years
Yeah.
before that, I usually did the red carpet. Somehow I snuck in one year, did a performance with Perry Gilpin. And
Barry Gilpin, you were terrific. You were fabulous.
thank you. That was fun. They won't even send me footage because they know I'll use it for stuff like this. And they're like, "Yeah, no, you're good."
They should
You
send
did
it to you.
You did fine. But I went up to Jason. I said, Jason, I always steal your dad's pratfalls. I grew up watching Three's Company.
Yeah.
When he's saying goodbye and he hits his knee on the door, it acts like he hits his face.
Yeah,
And I said, I have a video of my son. He's like maybe a year and a half,
yeah.
and I'm doing that. And he just laughs and says, again, daddy, like my son, I could do it 900 times.
Right.
He says,
So your face is bruised.
yeah. And he said, yeah, growing up in my household, there was a lot of again daddies. And I was like, wow, all right.
Wow.
That was
I
powerful.
mean, he was a masterful physical comedian. Just amazing. And also, again, I mean, Jason inherited his father's his grace and his sweetness and his charm. I mean, John was one of the nicest men in the business, and he's dearly missed. But wonderful actor and just great at his job.
Yeah, loved him.
Sweet man. Yeah.
All right, buddy. One fan question here
Yeah.
was: Do
Yeah,
you
go.
have a favorite character that you've played?
Favorite character that I played? I got a few. There was a movie called Lovely and Amazing, and
Okay.
I had a scene with Catherine Keener,
All right.
and it was a lovely movie directed by Nicole Holofcener, and I had one scene with Catherine Keener, and the role was written as just a sort of a swishy West Hollywood shopkeeper, and you can interpret it however you want. And but there was really no definition to it, and so I thought at the very last minute that I would give him a German accent, and I went up to Catherine Keener and I said, "What if I started talking like this?" Like out of the blue, I just sort of came up with the character, and he was like this, and I sort of, "What are you doing in my store?" And she was selling homemade wrapping paper, hand-painted homemade wrapping paper that she'd made, and it had little brown dots on it.
I
And-
remember that.
right? And I say,
I
"What is
remember
that? It looks like a little turd.
Yeah,
It looks like a little turd." And she said,
you're
"It's not a
insulting
turd.
her.
It's gross. It's not a turd." I said, "No, it's a little turd. Get out of my store." That's my favorite. I mean, one scene I was on screen for a minute, but I love that. But then I'm partial to Public Enemies because Michael Mann gave me a role in that film that kind of changed my life, and I love the part, and I love working with Johnny and all those actors, and so it was a part that kind of changed the arc of my life and my career. So I'm kind of partial to Public Enemies.
So, do you feel like you get cast as the same type of character a lot, or you're like all over the place?
Well, I kind of did. I mean, that's why I love Public Enemies. I kind of did for a long time. I was kind of cast as I used to call them pricks in suits. I was like, I was the smarmy lawyer. I was the prick DA. I got those guys a lot, and I did it for a very, very long time. And I started to get kind of bored with it. And I went in to read for Public Enemies for the Michael Mann film, and it was the role of this sort of this ex-boxer He was like a real he was a real sort of thug, and he was a bank robber and a getaway car driver and used guns a lot, like stuff that was really foreign to me in my experience as an actor. I had never gotten cast in those kinds of things. It was always kind of the same guy. And so when I went to read for that character, I said to the casting director, I said, can you let me read for whatever lawyer role is in here, or, the FBI agent? And she said, to her credit, this is Bonnie Timmerman, great casting director who cast Miami Vice and all of Michael Mann's films. And she said, Spencer, I've been watching you for a long time. I've seen you play the same guy over and over, and you're really good at it, but I want to see you do something different. So she said, come back tomorrow and let me see what you can do with this guy. And so I came back the next day, and I got the role. And it was the first sort of real meaty character role that I'd gotten a chance to play. And ever since then, I was looked at as a character actor, as a guy who played, different characters instead of like the same guy. Because I could do lawyers till I'm blue in the face. Yeah. But there was no variety there. There was not a lot of room to put colors on the palette. So I credit the casting director and Michael Mann with seeing in me something that I didn't see in myself at the time. So
yeah, a lot of people don't know you can also sing. Like even in Late Girls, you sing, and it's a whole other side of you. So.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I love to perform. I was a ham right out of the gate, so I love singing and dancing, doing all that stuff. I miss from the pandemic for the last. Oh, look at that! That's
Speaking
my
of singing. Yeah, this girl's hanging on to you. This Taylor Swift.
On, I know she won't. Hang on, my phone's. Taylor,
put it on silent. Yeah.
Taylor, I'm doing an interview. I'm on with Stevie. I can't. Okay, enough. Okay, Taylor. All right. Good luck with the singing career.
She's a stalker. All right, one more. You and Quentin right there. How about that guy?
Yeah, the man.
All right,
the man. Yeah, amazing.
All right. Well, I know you're busy. You're back on the set of Bosch in the morning, right?
I am. Back we're shooting at the Biltmore Hotel downtown. I got a couple more episodes to go. So, it's been a fun ride.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you for doing this. I know you're very busy, and I appreciate you.
Anytime.
And you're a good dude, man. Everybody, Spencer
anytime
Garrett.
Double wide.
Rocking the double wide again. He's back for an encore. Thank you, buddy. All right, and Spencer, where can your fans and your peeps find you?
I'm on the Twitters at @1 Spencer Garrett, and Instagram at Spencer Garrett 1.
All right. Easy. Judy had asked me, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm on their friend private page, or I don't know if I can blast their fan page or whatever. But that's it. And can you give your home address real quick? No, I'm just kidding. All right, so thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. See you soon.
Brother. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you.
God bless, man. See you soon.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Come on, get happy hour. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Stevie D and his so-called friends page. Leave us any comments. Who would you like to see on the show? We're on quarantine. So the good thing is, like, a lot of people are available. If I don't know them, I'll find out their address and stalk them until they do the show. Anyway, thank you, Judy Sketch Lewinson. You gonna take us out some old school up there?
I think we're gonna play some hits here.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Later on, y'all.